How's it going, everyone? Gazzavelli back with another video. Just came out to this prospecting spot again, just where they used to find the gold and all that. Just thought I'd come out and make another video. You know, it's a beautiful day and all that. But yeah, just come out to this spot. It's pretty nice. But yeah, today I just want to talk to you about the psychological side and spiritual side of narcissistic abuse. It's just something that I've been thinking about lately. And, in the beginning, I believe, when the narcissist was a child, there was a household of dysfunction, abuse, trauma. They were neglected, abandoned, or pedestalized, treated as a golden child or parentified. There was multiple forms of abuse. But it was to the point for the narcissist because they felt neglected and rejected and hurt and angry and everything like that, because they weren't allowed to separate and individuate and be their own person, that they were angry and they were traumatized, they were hurt, and their narcissistic parent or whoever it was that was their caretaker, that was the one that was supposed to be loving them and pointing them in the right direction, nurturing them, caring for them, showing them empathy and love, because they weren't there, they weren't doing these things, they weren't doing these kind, loving, empathic things towards them, and their narcissistic parent was more about what the child can do and everything like that, rather than who they are as a person. So they never developed as a person, or they weren't appreciated, or they weren't validated, they weren't loved and cared for, and all these things, all these empathic things. So they were they were angry and upset, and they dissociated, because it was a combination of all this horrific trauma, and then in some cases, extreme poverty, and just, a combination of a really bad, traumatic sort of, environment, dysfunctional environment. So that's all they knew from the beginning, and that's all they were taught. They weren't, directed in the right direction. They weren't taught the right things. So, they weren't taught love and empathy, and and in a lot of cases it could have been they were smothered, they were and they weren't allowed to be their own person and develop as a person. They were held back. And so the narcissist was angry. They were raging out because they weren't allowed to be their own person. And so, they'd lash out, and they ended up dissociating from who they are. They said, well, I'm not accepted, I'm not loved, I'm not appreciated for who I am. They don't care about who I really am. So, okay, I'm going to put on this false self. I'm going to be this, this negative entity. I'm going to be this abuser. I'm going to emulate my narcissistic parent. I'm going to be the one that comes out on top this time. They're like, I'm going to be the abuser. I'm going to be, the one filled with hate and rage and, all this negativity. And I'm going to be the one that's, dumping my trauma and rage and hate and everything, my guilt and, my shame and everything, or my hurt onto other people. It's like, as the saying goes, hurt people hurt people. And so they dissociated. Because when you're a child, like you're susceptible to things. You're in a vulnerable stage. Like, you're in the beginning of life, and you're looking to these people to, like, care about you, to love you, to appreciate you, to, like, steer you in the right direction, teach you the right and the wrong. But if you're growing up around a narcissistic parent, then they're going to be traumatizing you, they're going to be abusing you, they're going to be teaching you the wrong things, and there's not going to be that love there's not going to be that protection, that guidance, so it was unhealthy environment, dysfunctional environment. And so they dissociated, they felt inferior, they didn't feel good enough being their true self. They tried to be their true self, but they were just rejected. They were objectified, So, at that stage, they were so vulnerable and things like that. And, they thought, if I be this, this negative, hateful, angry, rageful person, and put on this false self so I can fool people. As they grew up, they learnt from different people that they associated with, oh, that's how you take advantage of people. That's how you exploit people. That's how you, traumatize people. That's how you do this. This is how you get your way in life. So they were not only, taught from a young age to, about dysfunction, about hate, and about all these negative things from their narcissistic parent, but also from all these other interactions that they're having with, people in their school, or people, like, things that they're seeing, with friends or whoever they're interacting with, enemies or whoever it is, just learning bits and pieces, traits from other people, how they can take advantage of people. And they just kept on feeding the bad wolf. They just kept on feeding the lie, because they dissociated, they become the false self, and they just get deeper and deeper into the delusion, into the darkness, into the lie. They practice the lie. They become the lie. And it's to the point where their true self completely deactivates. They abandon themselves. They abandon their true self. And they just keep on, practicing the lie, practicing these, dark traits, these lies, there's exploitation, the manipulations, the stonewalling, the gaslighting, all these traits to exploit others, But this is where it all began for them. And then I believe that there was a real, like, at the same time as there being, like, the whole psychological side of it, the trauma, the abuse and all that, there was a spiritual side to it as well. Like, I'm thinking of an analogy here, like, it's like when we're feeling down, or when we're feeling, tired, when we're feeling sad, when we're feeling all these kind of low frequency, like we're on that low vibrational emotions and things like that, there's more opportunity for the enemy to exploit us. He's an opportunist. The enemy's an opportunist, so he wants to come in, at our weak points, when we're feeling low, when we're feeling tired, when we're feeling sick, when we're feeling sad, these kinds of times, this is when the enemy, this is when the enemy attacks. Start to put things in your mind, lying, lies in your mind and things like that, telling you that you're not a good enough person, or, whatever lies he can, implant into your mind to bring you down, because his objective is destruction, your destruction. He wants to steal, kill, destroy. He wants to destroy lives. And when we're feeling sick, or when we're feeling this way, he just wants to, increase the damage. He wants to do more damage. If he can take control of your life force, or if he can take control of your thought energy or your thoughts, and convince you, get you tricked, believing in a lie that you're not a loving, or you're not a kind person. Look at you down, blah, blah, blah. He wants you to believe in the lie, to bring you down lower, to slowly destroy you, to take more and more, get more of a stronghold in your life. And this is what I think, what I believe that happened to the narcissist as well, that they not only got psychologically damaged, and they weren't just psychologically attacked, traumatized and all that, but also they were spiritually attacked at a vulnerable time in their life, when they were defenseless, when they were looking to their parents to protect them and guide them and, love them and everything like that. And because their parents didn't do that and they were hurt and traumatized, that's when the enemy got a stronghold in their life. That's when the enemy attacks, and starts to try implant lies, feed lies, telling them that they're not good enough. I mean, they may have been told by their narcissistic parent that they're not good enough, they'll never be anything, and that, objectified them and things like that, and treated them like they weren't anything, like they were nothing, and stonewalled them and gaslit them and things like that, and, abandoned them, betrayed them. But this is what the enemy will do. He'll come in at a weak point, when you're vulnerable. And I mean, when you're a child, you're impressionable, you're susceptible. You're looking for others, your caretakers and that, to protect you, to look after you, to guide you in the right direction and things like that. And if they're doing the opposite of that, and you're feeling hurt, traumatized, abused, and all these things, and if you're surrounded by, darkness and poverty and all these kinds of things in your environment, it's all dysfunctional. There's those times, and it happens a lot. What I believe is that they gave up their true self. They're like, well, I'm not good enough. I'm inferior. My parents don't love me, but, everyone's abandoned me. Everyone's betrayed me. Everyone's hurt me. The people that I, care about the most and tried to do my best for them, they've just given up on me. All these things. And they dissociated. And they said, well, I'm going to be the false self now. And they put on the false self. They started stealing, toxic traits from other people around them, and they practice the lie. And they fall deeper and deeper into the darkness, into the illusion, into the, the delusion, into the lie, into the fantasy, into the sickness. And they just get more and more sicker. They get worse and worse and worse because they're practicing something, and they gaslight themselves. They believe in their own confabulations. And they've been believing the lie so long and practicing it so long that now they're like psychologically damaged. They're trapped in this delusion, in a fantasy. And now they don't have a functional core. They're not interacting with reality. And they lost their true self, so they're empty. And now they can't regulate their own emotions. It's like a combination between the spiritual and the psychological, the psychology of it, I believe. And they just get darker and darker because they're practicing the lie. And they just get more manipulative and more exploitative and things like that. They learn all these different traits, how to gaslight, how to brainwash someone, how to like indoctrinate someone, how to exploit people. And they just copycat and emulate empaths because they know they're a false self. They know that they're practicing wickedness, they're practicing darkness, they're practicing the lie. And, so they just get worse and worse, and just they're looking to bring people into that delusion. They're looking to trap people into that, that dysfunction, that cycle of abuse, because they're trapped in it. Because they never individuated, they never separated from their original mother, their caretaker. Because they weren't allowed to, They were like, a lot of them were smothered, abused. They were like pedestalized and things like that. And they never became a fully functioning human. Like, they're like an incomplete human. Because they don't have a true self. They've got their false self. They're not interacting with reality. They can't see people as they can't see the externality of other people. Like, they don't do othering. They just take a snapshot of people and they create like a avatar. They just see people as avatars in their mind. They're interacting with this photo, like this icon, this symbol that's in their mind. They don't do othering. They don't perceive people as external. Although they have an external locus of control. So they're controlled by what's out there. They need other people's validation, admiration, attention. They need that narcissistic supply. They need that attention from other people because they feel like they don't exist. And they're controlled by external factors, like what's outside them. They don't have, because they don't have a true self. So they're vapid, they're empty. They're like a black hole. And they're just looking to suck people in, to trap people in their fantasy, in this delusion. And they do that by emulating empaths, by imitating them, by imitating, the characteristics of kind, loving people around them, to take advantage of people, to trap people in their web so they can extract their resources, their time, their money, energy, resources. They need people's energy because they can't regulate themselves from within. They need to steal people's energy. So that's where the empathic person comes into play. So they have to trap people, traumatize them, have them addicted. So in the beginning, they'll give the impression that they're this kind, loving, empathic person, that's all about supporting their partner and everything like that, giving them all the lies, you know, feeding them the lie, giving them the, you know, the illusion that, you know, they've got their best intentions for them and their best interests in their heart for them, but it's all deception. It's all an illusion, because all they can give you is an illusion. They don't interact with reality. You know, they can't pair bond with anyone. There's no intimacy. You know, it's all false. It's like fake empathy, fake love. They were never taught love. They never learnt love. And now they just associate love with like trauma, abuse, pain, withdrawal, avoidance, you know, betrayal, this type of thing. And they just use love now. They just use love. You know, they weaponize love and empathy against us. They use it to exploit people. They give you the impression that they love and that they've got empathy for people, but it's just used as a weapon to just suck people in, just to pull the wool over people's eyes, to get them trapped inside a trauma bond. You know, they'll love bomb you in the beginning with all these, like, you know, fake empathic traits and things, characteristics, you know, but it's all an illusion, it's all deception. And then they'll give you the hot and cold, the pleasure and pain, you know, the reward and punishment. They'll have you thinking that, you know, they've got their best for you, but no, they just want to destroy your life. They just want to steal everything from you. They're thieves, you know. Because I believe, you know, they're, you know, just like the enemy, they're opportunists. The enemy's an opportunist as well. He just waits until, you know, you're down, you're sad, you know, you're traumatized, you're hurt, all these things, you know, you're weak and everything, you know, so he can, you know, start feeding you lies, start trying to implant things into your mind and telling you that you're not good enough, that you should be doing more, or, you know, you're inferior, blah, 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 all these lies, whatever lies he can tell, because he's like the father of lies. And, you know, he's got his cohorts running around, and, you know, all these demons, and, you know, people can be taken over by these things. You know, if they're like vulnerable, it's like the narcissists when they were children, you know, like they got hurt, abused, victimized, objectified and all these sort of things, like, you know, and they just got taken over by the darkness. They chose, you know, or they accepted, you know, the lie, and they just practiced the lie, and they just got darker and darker and darker, you know, and now they gaslight themselves. You know, they believe their own lies, they believe their own confabulations. You know, and they're just looking to trap other people into their web so they can just extract everything from them, and they need people, you know, they need other people to survive. This is how they've survived for so long. This is how they get by. This is how they've got, you know, by this whole time. It's through taking advantage of other people, but this is what it all is. I believe it's a combination, you know, of the spiritual and the psychological. It's a combination. And the enemy, of course, he'll just take advantage of people when they're low, when they're hurt, when they're feeling traumatized, things like that. You know, because his objective is to destroy people's lives. And if he can use people as a vehicle for lies and destruction and to steal and kill people's spirit and everything else negative, Well, that's what he's going to do, and that's his plan. This is what I believe that what his plan is. It's just to use these people as vehicles to destroy people. And because they've been living this way for so long, they don't even realise that they're being manipulated by him, by the enemy. They're being, gaslit by the enemy. They've been lied to by the enemy, and they've been believing the lie so much that they become the lie. And they want to deflect and project their trauma onto everyone around them. Because in their mind, they feel perfect and they feel like they do nothing wrong and everything like that. And they've been believing all these lies that they're this perfect, empathic person, and, that, they should have everything. They should be like, they're the best things since sliced bread. They're the center of the universe, and everyone should be, their slave. And that's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to enslave people, destroy people. He's come to steal, kill, and destroy. This is what I believe. And he's using people as vehicles around, in the earth, on the earth, to take empathic people down. He don't want to see love. He don't want to see people loving one another and building people up. It's all part of his plan. It's all part of the enemy's plan. But yeah, it's a combination of the psychological and the spiritual. It's obvious. To me it is. And I think a lot of people out there would agree. I mean, I've had a lot of, spiritual, deeply spiritual things happen in my life. So I'm totally aware that there's a spiritual war going on as well. I believe in the light and the dark, the good and the evil, right and wrong, all of that. And I mean, it's been written about since, going back in all the ancient texts. And, you couple that with your experiences, and the wisdom, all of it. And the narcissist, just like a vehicle, just going through their life, when they're not really living, they're just really existing. And this is what they want to do. They want to bring you down, so you're just like, you're not even living your life, you're just existing. You're on this high frequency, you've got this light within you that's like bright, shining light, and it's like, it's blinding them. It's like they don't want to know about the truth. They want to distort the truth. You notice it's all about, with them, it's all about darkness and, disturbance and dysfunction, and the whole energy, their whole energy is off. It just feels wrong, It's like you just want to, everything inside you, like your nervous system and, your spirit and everything, physically, you just want to get out of there. You just want to run for the hills. You want to get out of there because you just feel like there's such a heaviness. There's such a disturbing feeling going on. You know it inside you, in your gut, it's telling you something's really wrong here and you need to get out of here. But what they'll do is they want to get you trapped there. They want to have you addicted, trauma bonded. So you feel like it's love and everything, and you think you're in love with this, this person, but they've just sold you this false character, this person it's not even them. They don't, they never existed. It's just this person that, has emulate or has mirrored back, just mirrored you back. So it's just all deception, lies, and they're just about your destruction. Because they're jealous and envious, they want to take you out, they want to steal everything from you, they want to steal your character traits, They want to steal your personality, your identity, everything from you. Because they don't have it. They don't have it. They know we've got it. They know that we can interact with people. You know, we've got empathy and love. And they just want to bring us down. And yeah, I just believe it's spiritual warfare. And it's been going on since the dawn of time. And it's becoming, you know, clearer and clearer, you know, to the masses and to everyone, that that's what it is. It's more than just a psychological thing. It's a combination. This is what I believe. But anyway, that's my talk. You know, I hope you're all doing well. I'm just like walking around this, just out in nature, just around where they used to find the gold and that, do the prospecting. It's a nice spot. But yeah, I'm just going to keep it moving. Just wanted to share this video with you. I hope everyone out there's having an awesome day. Hope everyone's doing well. Keep smiling, keep shining. You know, you deserve the best of the best. You know, you're the one with the love, the real empathy, you know, the real kindness. You're operating on a frequency that's far above. You know, you got the positive emotions. You know, you can access them. You know, we can be in the moment, live in the moment. You know, so keep shining, keep smiling, keep being awesome. You know, I'm just going to keep on having a bit of a walk and get myself some water because it's really warm. And yeah, enjoy your day. Peace and love. Till next time. Oh, please like, share and subscribe. Much love. Speak to you soon. Cheers. Bye.